So, do you know who Doyle Archer is?
Cannot say that I do.
He's a trucker.
Okay.
He is the Guinness Book of World Records oldest living, breathing, trucking trucker. Actively trucking.
Really?
90 years young.
Wow.
How cool is that?
Very cool.
Yeah. Doyle, let me just see if I can read it for everybody here. Doyle Archer was officially recognized as the Guinness World Record holder for the oldest male truck driver. I wonder what the oldest female is.
I don't know. Might have to look that one up.
Hey, chicks live longer, so we might have an older woman. Who knows?
Maybe.
Anyways, he's the oldest male truck driver this year and has traveled 5.5 million miles. And he's been driving for 60 plus years. 60 plus 55 days. 60 years plus 55 days. This was back in February, so it's been, another 4 months since then, or 3 months. He says, I do not plan to retire anytime soon, Doyle said to the Guinness World Records, as long as my health holds. Well, Doyle, you are 90. Who knows?
Honestly, 90 and still can pass the medical exam. It's saying a lot.
That's a good thought. I didn't even think of that.
Lot.
Yeah. So I wonder what he does get. Does he get a 1 year, a 2 year, a 3 month? He says, as long as my health holds out, I will keep driving. I do not have the word retire in my vocabulary. This is what Doyle's saying. He says, I enjoy my job very much. So this guy is like a trucking fool, which is cool because I understand the passion for wanting to stay out there. It says Doyle was recently awarded a 1,000,000-mile safe driving accolade after hauling goods safely for 1 million miles without any incidents at his current company of the last 20 years, Coombs. I never even heard of Coombs, Coomes Inc. in Phillipsburg, Kansas. Yeah, how cool is that? this dude is seriously, he's a road dog.
And you want to hear something else?
Yeah, sure.
He's been with the same job for 20 years.
Right, but but that's what this company.
A lot too.
Yeah, so he's loyal.
Yeah.
He said, I've been given the opportunity to see the Kennedy Space Center and Johnson Space Center of Houston, Texas. Many decks and harbors of ports in many states dealing with international shipping. I have witnessed many sunrises and sunsets behind the windshield, deserts of the Southwest, historic settlements, the bright lights of Las Vegas, and the Western lifestyle of the Cheyenne Rodeo, the music of Nashville, Tennessee, and the great steel mills of Chicago. But my favorite will always be the wheat fields of the High Plains in June and July. He had a long time to figure out which he likes the best.
Yeah.
It says Doyle started his life on the family's farm in Kansas before earning a degree in agriculture. Doyle then became a partner at a lumber and grain company before asthma forced him to leave the specific part of the industry in 1961. Instead of leaving it altogether, Doyle just went on to haul loads that create only a little bit of dust because he had asthma.
That's pretty neat.
It is. Doyle says he did not expect to ever become the world's oldest trucker, but is happy to still be on the road. When he is home, though, he spends time with his wife of 70 years. So, wow. Good for you, Doyle. 60 years of trucking, 70 years of marriage. He's seen it all, loves the wheat field. He says he's got 9 children, 25 grandchildren, and 26 great-grandchildren. Doyle also has an interest in antique cars and John Wayne movies.
I don't think he would have gotten away without those, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's an old timer. You know what I mean? Comes from the John Wayne era and before. But 60 years of trucking, 70 years of marriage. What a blessed life, Ruth Ann.
I think I would be pretty happy with that life myself.
I agree. And it specifically says he's an over-the-road trucker. So it's not like Doyle is just, tender-footing around the state of Kansas. He's actually cruising America's roads. Kind of a crazy way to start the podcast out.
Well, I think it's pretty neat. I mean, it gives a pretty interesting turn. Usually, we always hear about the drivers that are, getting out of the industry fast or because they can't stand being away or anything like that. And then you also have the drivers that can't, stay still. And here you have Doyle here that has been in the industry forever and same company for the last 20 years. Who knows what he was at before that, how long with that specific company.
Yeah.
And all that he's seen. It's pretty amazing.
I agree 100%. So, hopefully we'll be reporting on Doyle's 90th, or not 90th, but 100th birthday as a trucker. Would that be super cool if 10 years from now, here we are talking about Doyle again?
I'm flabbergasted just thinking of that, honestly.
No,
I mean, that's because you think about it. I mean, he's got to be pretty healthy to be passing the cert, the medical exam. So
yeah.
Pretty.
Wow. So,
anyways, I mean, it would be pretty nice if he could live.
I hear you. How about we take a break?
Let's take a break.
We'll be right back. Drivers, if you're looking for a local, home, everyday driving job, apply with Carter Lumber today. They have positions for Class A and Class B local drivers. They can take experienced drivers, students, and non-CDL drivers. With over 160 locations, chances are they have a position for you. So go to carterlumber.com/TalkCDL and apply today. Again, that's carterlumber.com/TalkCDL. Thank you. Hey drivers, are you sick of watching the other drivers bypass the weigh station while you are held up going through yourself? Well, download Drivewyze today at www.drivewyze.com. That's DRIVEWYZE.com, and start bypassing the scales yourself. If you're a small carrier, an owner-operator, or even a big fleet looking for something better, check out Drivewyze today. And remember, there's no equipment, no transponders needed when you're using Drivewyze. Check them out for a free download at www.drivewyze.com. Truck Parking Club is a network of instantly reservable daily and monthly truck parking locations throughout the U.S. Truck Parking Club helps connect truckers to truck parking locations throughout the U.S. via truckparkingclub.com. Our networks is made up of property owners that have locations adequate for truck parking to list on the platform. This includes trucking companies, storage companies, CDL schools, trailer leasing companies, real estate investors, truck parking operators, and more. Go to truckparkingclub.com today. If you're a driver looking for a new trucking job, check out NCI. NCI offers the following: new Kenworth T680s, competitive wages, solo, team, and students welcome, plus a full benefit package for you and your family. Check them out today at 888-311-7076. That's 888-7076. And tell them TalkCDL sent you. All right, we are back, and we are rocking this week.
I hate when I think, like when you say certain things, the first thing that comes into your head is a song or a phrase.
What'd you think of?
Back in the saddle again. When you say we're back.
You know, gosh, I got so much to talk about this week. I literally was thinking about the generation of trucking today and the young guys, the new guys, you know, and I was thinking to myself, a lot of these guys, you know, like the past generation, they call them steering wheel holders. And a lot of them, they put them down because a lot of them don't have the ability or on their CDL to shift, because most trucks today are automatics. And I was thinking to myself, and again, I'm not putting anybody down, but I was thinking how this generation is being put down by the generation my age, right? And I remember when I was a young trucker that the generation before me thought my generation was a bunch of candy asses. And so my message this week is, be careful of judging the new guys. I mean, maybe it's what you call hazing. You know what I mean? Maybe each generation has to put down the new generation, right? I mean, first off, this generation, most of them don't have the endorsement, or they have what's called a restriction on their CDL. A lot of them. I've spoken to a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the schooling and stuff too, right?
Correct. It's their schooling doesn't offer training them in manual and automatics, for example. But I've met a lot of new truckers, and they're good people. I've met a lot of these new guys that stay out for weeks at a time, months at a time even. You know, maybe 1 year or 2 years of experience, 3 years. You know, this new generation that they're carrying on the tradition of trucking. In fact, I've met a lot of new guys that tell me they love to stop and help when they see, because they want the old school attitude in their trucking. Mm-hmm. So if you're a trucker with, like, say, 10, 20 years experience, and you're making fun of the new guys, I mean, sincerely, there are a lot of good people in the new, but know this. If you have 10, 20 years of experience, you were made fun of at one time, whether you want to admit it or not. Like I said, I remember when my generation was just getting into conventionals, because I started driving when cab overs were still going pretty strong, but it was changing real fast to where flat tops and then mid roofs, and now what we have, condos of today. All right. And then we also had the Qualcomm had just started when I was a young trucker, and the old generations were calling us names, you know what I mean, telling us that we were a bunch of pansies and we don't know what it's like to truck like them. You know what I mean? Those old, yeah, that's what it was. Those old school, you don't know what spring brakes are. You don't know what this is like. You don't know what that, you don't care. You're a bunch of candy asses, right? That's what they were saying to us. But know this, the generation that made fun of my generation, you guys were made fun of from the guys that never even had a damn cab over. They didn't even have what's called a sleeper berth. They slept on a damn bench, a 6 foot to 8 foot by like a 2x8 or a 2x6 that they kept on their catwalk. They put it across the seats and they would sleep on it. So when you guys that got into cab overs and had a sleeping quarters, that old school generation that were really tough truckers made fun of you. And so each generation puts the new generation down. And someday you new guys that they're making fun of now, someday you guys, probably when autonomous trucks or half autonomous trucks come, by then you guys will be calling those guys, I don't even know if they'll be called steering wheel holders, because there might not even be a damn steering wheel to hold on to. You know,
automatic.
They might call you guys like, you know, commandos or whatever, you know. You just say it and your truck drives for you. But it's going to be, each generation is always going to think that the new generation is a bunch of pansies. And so on. And so the saga goes on and on and on. But make no mistake, each one of you were made fun of.
At one point or another, right?
Exactly. And please write in and tell me how you're a tough guy from the 30s, because you don't exist. I guarantee it. I'm telling you. We could keep going back on each generation, and each generation had it a little harder and a little harder, and each new generation gets it a little easier and a little easier. And trust me, the good ones still have the good trucking attitude, because I've met them from today to all the way back when I was a little kid, okay, in my grandfather's garage, all right, where them old school truckers would come in and they knew all kind of crazy tricks, and they were all a bunch of tough guys, probably making fun of the new guys then too. So that's really what I wanted to put out there this week. Give these guys a break, okay, old school guys. Give these new guys a break, you know, help them out instead of making fun of them. If you see one that needs a little help. You got anything to add to that?
Be a good bandit.
A good bandit. What are they called? The bandits? What were they called? The ones that
I know which ones
our buddies out there in Arizona, New Mexico. What were they called? They were the old school bandits or something like that. I forget even what they were called.
I'd have to look it up. I don't remember now.
Everybody's probably going to make fun of us now. Anyways, moving on.
Moving on. You know, what's really funny, it's ironically, I've got this article I want to talk about, but I want to lead it into, well, actually, you know what? Let me just lead this story off by saying this. I talked this week with a driver, a trucker, that was, and I've never met one before. We've reported on guys like this, and he was afraid to come on the show. But he is an authentic, illegal, you can call him alien or migrant, a smuggler. Oh my God.
Of getting people across the border. And he got caught and arrested. This is what stopped him.
Okay.
And so the story goes like this. And this was a guy that I met this week. He had called me and we were just talking. And I literally tried to call him back. And I messaged him and everything. So I won't say his name.
Okay.
But he wanted me to know about partially a little bit, but he really got nervous about talking about it. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you don't just have it fall into your lap normally. Normally, if you're a guy that tries to go across the border and put people in your trailer or your bunk or whatever the case is, okay, normally you already have an in or a connection. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was talking to a trucking company about this also this week, and he agreed. He said, yeah, you don't just happen to go down to Mexico and get a bunch of illegals and stick them in your truck and know where to go to get paid. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's no different than the fish market here in Florida, right? People know where to go. They go out and they fish and they bring them back and they know who the wholesaler is to take it to pay them.
Right.
Well, so here's what he told me. He drove down to Mexico in his personal vehicle. Now, this was before this guy actually got his CDL. Because we know what happens if you get caught, okay, smuggling illegals into the country. If you have a Class A CDL, you're banned for life. Your CDL is banned for life. We've reported on that. That's a law. So ironically, this guy, and it's really weird, you would think he wouldn't be able to get a CDL, but he has a CDL now, Class A. And this guy, I won't say when, but a couple of years ago, he went down to Mexico in his personal vehicle. And he told me, he said he had 4 illegals in his vehicle. in bags. I was like, in bag? I'm like, what are you talking about? In bags? Dude, what are you getting at here? He said, no, they were breathable bags.
Still. I mean, I'm still thinking about bags, and you know that movie for, was it 7 heads in a bag or something like that?
7 heads in a duffel bag?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of, unfortunately.
So I said to him, okay, so how did you get caught? He said, well, when he was coming across, right, the checkpoints, he said the dogs are trained to hit on, I guess, people.
The like human smell.
Right. And I think he had contraband. No, I don't think he did. As he pulled up, he said the dog walked around the front and just went crazy, I guess. They pulled him in, and boom, they got him, right? He said there was there was a trucker behind him that had like 10 illegals in a trailer. He said this guy ended up going to jail for about a year. And he got out.
This one here that had 4?
The 4 in the bag, yeah, in the bags. So I was like, oh my gosh, this would be so juicy to get him on the show. I mean, seriously, how many shows get an actual, I would love to get him on video. You know how you do like what's that dude's name? They used to put his silhouette on the show. Mm-hmm. The guy that talked like that. It was, I don't know. I can't even remember his name now. But anyways, I would love to get, this guy on the show with the silhouette and so nobody could see his face, but kind of like on the investigative shows.
Right.
It'd be so cool. And then I would like disguise his voice into, I am alien, right? And so, just to interview him, because I think it would really be the ratings would go even up higher. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I'm just kind of juicing here. But anyway, so I asked him, what would you ask the guy? What would one of the questions you would ask?
Me?
Yeah. What do you think? What do you got?
Well, I mean, like, what made you think you'd get away with it?
Well, see, now that's a good.
I would think like.
That's a good question. I asked him. I said, "Dude, what were you thinking?" You know what he said? No word to lie. This is his actual words. He said, "I guess I thought it was a good idea at the time." He literally said that to me. Well, he's not. The guy's not dumb. He's a nice guy actually, but you could tell he knows something stupid to happen. To me, what's really weird is how did he get a CDL after this happened? Right.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I mean,
right.
I see that you had some jail time. What was that for?
Smuggling.
I was smuggling humans. I mean, there's things that you have to answer questions. How was he able to get the CDL? And how did he get a CDL? Did he go through a school? I mean, did the school literally think that he would get away with getting his license then?
He did. He went through a well-noted school, too. No word to lie.
They were so rip-off on him. Like,
well, no, I mean, the dude actually had a job for the last year.
With a trucking company?
Somebody hired him, yes.
Oh.
So, anyways, my question was, I just couldn't stand it. I had to ask him, how much do you get for illegal? Because we've always been guessing.
We have been guessing.
I'm like, how much do you get, man? I'm serious. I'm saying, I hope this don't offend you, but man, how much you get for one? I mean, it's, they're human beings, and he said they get a little over $1,000.
So not worth it. That is not worth it.
It's not.
No.
And he said, but you have to get them to Houston.
Still not worth it. Nope.
Well, heck no, because how far is Houston from the border? Quite a ways, a few hundred miles.
Yeah. There's absolutely no way I would do it.
Yeah.
Nope.
So how crazy is that? So I guess one of the illegal networks is in Houston somewhere. Hopefully we don't get death threats.
We'll start getting our emails.
Well, no, I'm serious though. I mean, it's literally, so to me, I could see why he would be scared. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have, asked him to give names or anything like that.
No.
Right. But there's the network and people are just getting caught like crazy. What's funny is I'm getting ready to, do this segment, and what pops up? Listen to this. Texas truck driver sentenced in scheme to smuggle more than 900 migrants in tractor trailers. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, you can't fit 900 people in one trailer. So this is something that he's been doing for a period of time.
Over 19 successful trips. So that goes to tell you how much you're actually getting through. How crazy. Over 19 trips, this dude is responsible for 900 migrants. It says, this week a Texas truck driver was sentenced to prison for his role in a scheme to smuggle hundreds of migrants from Mexico to San Antonio. So there's another network working out of San Antonio. Dallas resident Cedric Zelitis Smith, 47, was sentenced to 84 months, which is like 7 years or something like that, right? For in prison for conspiracy to transport undocumented non-citizens, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Western District of Texas. Smith's arrest and conviction is a result of Homeland investigation into human smuggling ring that began in May of 21. So that's 3 years. Officials say that Smith operated as a driver who used his CDL to smuggle. Now, this guy will be literally for life. He'll lose his CDL to smuggle loads of people who came to the U.S. from Mexico, transporting trailers loaded with humans from Laredo to San Antonio. The human smuggling loads included approximately 30 migrants to more than 100 packed into a single trailer. So each time they went from 30 to 100. Officials also say that Smith operated as a go-between for other truck drivers. So he would meet the truckers and set them up like the guy that I met, I guess. Who knows? He might have met this guy. I don't know. For other truck drivers and organizers of the smuggling operation. And he assisted also in the theft of tractor trailers. So what they did was a lot of times when they would go down to Mexico, they would snag a truck and trailer, probably get plates for it, blah, 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 and then come across the border. Most of the time, a lot of times, if they do it right, these guys are, just wave through. Not everybody stopped. If you got like lines and lines of people, they're not searching every truck. You can only search a small percent of these trucks. It says the human smuggling ring reportedly transported more than 900 people in at least 19 human smuggling events. So there you have it. Over a period of 3 years, this guy was responsible for at least 900 migrants to get into the country illegally, and all he got was 84 months. So my guess is he turned a dime. He dimed somebody out because obviously 84 months is a light sentence. He could have gotten life, would be my guess, with that amount.
I would say, I guess maybe a lot depending on, but you know what I'm thinking?
What's that?
If he got $1,000 per person, what makes him think that he had to keep going after like $900,000?
I didn't say $900,000.
No, you said he got 900 people.
Right.
If he got 1,000.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah. If he was responsible, so he probably made over $1 million over the last so many years.
Yeah. Why did he have to keep going? He could have stopped.
But here's something
when he was ahead.
Well, think about this. The drivers. Now, this guy also was a go-between.
Right.
So he probably got other fees besides the actual driving fees.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's more than just the driver's fee, what they're charging for these illegals to come into the country.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. He should have just stopped while he was ahead. I mean, he should have just been happy with like 500 or 300. You know, there's just, I don't know. Why chance it?
They get greedier and greedier. And you know, to be honest with you, my advice to all you truck drivers out there that may have been approached or may be approached. And in fact, this guy was telling me that's really where, you know, the danger point is really from the border so many miles after. So you really got a lot going against you for such a little profit.
It's not, I don't know.
Like if you said to me, Troy, for $1 million, would you do 10 years in prison? I'd say, hell no. So why would I take the chance even to make $1 million if I thought I'm going to have to do 10 years in prison and probably pay heavy fines, lose my CDL, my ability as my bread and butter for the rest of my life? Why would I be so... I wouldn't take the chance for $1 billion, because if you get caught, you don't get the money and you get the time.
And then you get to become someone's girlfriend.
Well, and you get to become Bubba's girlfriend. But here's the other thing. I was thinking about this, and you can look it up. It's been probably 10 years. There was a guy that had like 40 or 50 migrants, Mexicans, whatever you want to, title them as. He had brought them up. He was not far from Houston, and the deal went sour.
Oh, I remember that a couple years ago.
Right. And so all he did was abandon the load. The reefer fuel ran out, and like 99% of them died. He's doing life right now. I'm pretty sure he's doing life in prison because he just made the dumb decision of just going, okay, I'm scared. I might get caught. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't remember exactly what the deal was with this guy. But this truck driver, he's locked up for life, literally. And he's got probably 50 murders on his hand because it was his fault that these human beings died. So not only do you risk for $1,000 or more, okay, per head, but you also risk death. What if you wreck the truck with them in it and they die? You know, there's been actually several cases since that Houston event years ago where migrants have died in the truck recently even. So I would tell you guys, the risk is big, the reward is little.
Yeah, I don't see that being a really good idea.
Criminals are the stupidest people on the planet.
Well, hello.
I mean, they put so much effort into thinking up, back at the lair, Pinky in the brain. They sit around.
Sorry. I remember y'all watching that with the boys.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Every Pinky in the brain out there sitting around for years coming up with new schemes. They could have went to college or invented something or started a business and worked that hard and been rich legally. But no, they do it for the big payoff. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life.
There's so much that always goes wrong. There's nothing ever. You always end up failing it.
Look, look at drug runners, human smuggler runners, all that. I mean, you get so nervous, you end up speeding or doing something stupid and you get caught. You blow a tire and you're on the side of the road and a cop shows up. You know what I mean? There's people knocking on the trailer to get out. I mean, there's so many things that could go wrong. Don't be stupid. That's my advice. These are lives we're playing with. Do yourself a favor and just go get a job with your Class A CDL. Hello? Anyways, moving on.
Moving on.
No, I'm just serious. I mean, look, let me say this before we do move on. I kind of don't blame the guy for not wanting to come on. I'm serious. Well,
he just would have been made in fun of right now.
Well, yeah. But I will tell you though, he literally was scared.
No, I don't. Of course. I mean, just like anything else. I mean, if you're in like any kind of, like they say, I mean, the movies, I can't really say they say because, you know, I would never been involved in any of this stuff. But when you watch the movies and you see the people that are trying to get out of the drug industry, you know, there's no out. There's never a way I'm done. I just don't want to do it anymore. They don't do that. So, of course, he's like probably worried too because there's probably not an out. There's always someone watching you.
We'll keep all the guns loaded just in case they show up here.
I got two.
TalkCDl people. They found us out. The gig is up, but we don't know where you're at. If you're Mr. Big Smuggler, we don't know your name. We don't know where you're at.
I know nothing.
We know nothing. But guess what? If you want to come over here to Florida, we're packing. I'm serious. I'm telling you right now. Anyways, moving on.
All
right. So one last thing. By June 30th, New York City is supposed to put this new congestion fee in. Yeah.
Congestion fee?
Yeah. If you drive in their city below 60th Street, a trucker will pay anywhere from $24 to $36. Each time you go in, like if you went in and then came back in, you would pay it again. And that's only up till a certain hour, and then it drops down to a few bucks. Taxi drivers are all pissed off. Uber drivers, they're all getting charged.
Really?
Yeah, but they're charging the customer because they haul a customer. It's like $1.50 if you're an Uber driver. But if you go into the zone, they call it the zone. They expect to thin out by 150,000 vehicles because of this fee. That's what New Yorkers are thinking because they're really smart people. But seriously, they are expecting to thin out the crowd because of the fee. And it is a very congested. I've been down there with a tractor trailer, you know, down on Broadway and 55th and all that area where the Waldorf is. And it is just one giant sounding horns, you know, so who knows? But they're trying to appeal it, okay? The New York Truckers Association, whatever, is trying to appeal this, but they only have
a month
till the end of June.
You know, I would say, you know, here's the thing. They're trying to put this extra fee on there, but when you're driving it, you charge it back to the customer that's in New York. Say, hey, for me to come in and out of you, I got to pay, you know, $60 just to come into your facility. You know, they might not appreciate getting charged those extra rates. So New York shouldn't, you know, like they might end up getting in the industry, the businesses themselves complaining to whoever made up the law of the congestion.
And look, I agree with you on that, but this is how inflation works. You start charging the customer that you're hauling their freight. You know what the customer does? They just charge the people more.
Yeah, but that's all in New York. Let them all deal with it.
No. The price just goes up across the board.
It's all in New York.
You're going to pay more.
But it's in New York only.
No, it's in Florida now. Oh yeah. But anyways, we'll see if this new. It's funny how New York, going in and out of New York cost $1 million to begin with. So what's another $30? Whatever. Anyways, stay out of New York City. Most truckers don't want to go there anyway. So
yeah, a lot of them don't.
Just more of an excuse to stay out.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. What do you got for us today, Ruth Ann? Do you have the word of the day? Do you have an article? Do you have anything going on?
I do have an article that kind of caught me off guard in a sense. You know, it kind of goes with your article of the smuggling.
What's that?
This was with cocaine, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Can you believe just the gall that you would have going and deciding that you're going to go and pack 400 pounds of cocaine in your tractor?
Oh, this was in a trucker's?
Well, yes, it is in trucker. It was there in the California. It was in the California Mexico border, and this trucker, he was 35 35 years old. He decided that he was going to come in and have, in the fuel tanks, they always, their trick was always to make little extra compartments. Well, that's what they did with this one. Made an extra compartment there at the fuel tanks. He slid in, thought he was going to get through, and they nabbed him for...
They nabbed him?
They nabbed him.
He's been nabbed.
He's been nabbed. And it was at night. It was like 9 o'clock at night when he got caught.
Wow.
But they got him for trying to smuggle 400 pounds of cocaine in. And what's really funny is right after that, another incident happened. So this one happened, actually it was before this one, in May. And they did $18 million worth of meth was caught coming through the Mexican border. This one happened to be in squash and vegetables.
So I'm just wondering if the trucker was doing the coke too, and like maybe that's how he got caught. And he's like, "Oh, it's a powdered donut, I swear."
160 packages of cocaine.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh. But then I guess that the meth in the squash kind of, the fuel tanks, that's common. It's common to try and hide it in certain vegetables and fruits.
So
and stuff.
the dog sniffed them out or what? Yeah.
When they come through, I guess they go through your first little inspection, and then you come through and they have you go through the second inspection. And in that second inspection, when the dogs would come walking around, and they alerted them for the fuel tanks. And then this one was, hey, something's going on in this in the trailer. So that's how they ended up getting caught, was for that. The guy with the meth was 44, and the guy with the cocaine was 35.
So here's the only thing I'm thinking. Okay, so you got the cocaine and the meth guy smuggling, right? And then we just did the story on the guy smuggling illegal humans across. Okay, so I can only just picture, if this was Troy, me, I can only just picture the look on my face when I'm getting caught. See, that right there is terror to me. You know what I mean? It's like when the dog comes out, going, I'm like, oh my gosh, calm your dog down. It's like, I'm dead. I'm screwed. I am screwed, blued, and tattooed. Seriously, I can't even imagine going through that. Just that part right there would give me probably a heart attack. Just thinking about getting, in fact, I would be the guy, I would be sweating so bad when they wind down your window, sir. I'd wind my window down. It would look like I just came out of a swimming pool. I'd be that nervous.
Like the movies where they're mopping their face. Like, Joe, you remember see that airplane? He's sweating. It's just like pouring down like a hose off of him.
Yeah.
Well, here's on this article, both drivers had what's called a valid border crossing card. So they legally were able to go back and forth between the borders. So I'm curious. I wonder how many trips they made.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Because they had the in to go back and forth. Was it their first time, or was it their fifth, or was it their 500th?
Well, look at the illegal alien smuggler, right?
900 of them.
19 trips he was responsible for, whether it was him or somebody else. But when they say 19 trips, that was 19 successful trips, probably before he gave up, and they took him downtown, smacked him with the rubber hose, and that's when he started giving up. I guarantee he gave people up, because there's no way, And I wonder about these. Does it say what they were sentenced to, or are they just got caught? So
they only just got caught, just only within the last couple of weeks. So my question, though, is where in the world? I mean, I guess I have a hard time when I look at certain things. It's like, why would you do certain things like that? Because those drugs you're bringing in, those aren't going to, 40, 50, 60-year-old people. Those are going to like elementary kids, middle school kids. What you're doing is just destroying these young children, first of all.
They don't care.
I know. That's what bothers me. I mean, it bothers me that they don't care what happens, because they're just more concerned about the dollar. But then when the kid that they started supplying all these drugs to is now 20 and so hooked, or 25 and hooked, or whatever you want to call it, that they're busting into their house and shooting up their family so they can get drug money by stealing your stuff. I mean, think about it.
No, Ruth Ann, you're being a bleeding heart right now.
I'm off somewhere else.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, you're concerned. You're saying what they should be thinking, and they don't. You know, they wouldn't be doing it like that if they were thinking like that. Obviously, somebody with a conscience wouldn't be running drugs. Okay.
True.
So, you know, it's no different than any other cruel-hearted person, Ruth Ann.
I know.
Stop being a bunny hugger.
I just am smarter.
You are smarter. I agree with you. You're not a smuggler. Moving on.
Moving on.
What do you got? You got the word of the day?
I do.
What do you got?
LaCullen.
Whoa. Villa Cohen?
No.
LaCullen.
LaColon.
LaColon?
LaColon.
Like the colon? Does it have anything to do with your colon?
Well, I mean, actually, now that I think about it.
Is it a French man's colon? La colon.
It's Latin.
Yeah.
It's LUCULLAN.
Okay, what does it mean?
Especially with food, extremely lucrous. Lucorious.
So, again, we should mention that this comes from Word Genius. They are not a sponsor, but it looks kind of cool looking. So, Word Genius, download the free word of the day, and you could be as smart as Ruth Ann.
I'm smart.
Ruth Ann, we're out of here.
Peace.
Peace. Praise the Lord.